Well, now moving on to the next one. Cowboys versus the Packers. Who's winning this one? I think this is another easy one.
I think this is going to actually be a super exciting game through the first half. I think the Packers have a really good offense. I said on the podcast a couple weeks ago that Jordan Love's a baller, and I believe
Yeah,
that. I want
no,
to
I
know
do too.
I want to know what the Packers did to go Favre, Rodgers, Love. I want to know they got some good karma or something. I don't know what they did, but it's amazing that they found this kid. And I think that it might be halftime. It might be 20-17 or 20-16 or 17-13. It might be really close. And we're going to be all excited at halftime. Like, oh my God, are the Packers going to do it? They're going to get their revenge on Mike McCarthy. And then it's going to be like 37-23 at the end of the game. Because the thing about it is Packers offense is good. Points have been scored on Dallas's defense this year, even though I think Dallas's defense is really good. But the one part of this game that can't be overstated is the Packers defense is terrible. And I think that Cooper Rush could put up 35 to 40 points on this Packers defense. So
Yeah,
I think, the thing about the Cowboys is Dak did it last year. I think it was against the Buccaneers, right? He came out and he threw a bunch of touchdowns or was it 2 years ago? Maybe I'm getting my years mixed up where he came out and threw a bunch of touchdowns against the Buccaneers. But
yeah,
I think it's a huge week for the Cowboys to just, if they can come out and stomp a mud hole in the Packers, even if the game's close through the first, couple of quarters, then it's um, big for their confidence. Cause I'll be honest with you. I ain't worried about the Chiefs. I'm not worried about the Ravens, even though they just beat us. I'm not worried about the Bills. To me,
yeah.
whoever makes it to the Super Bowl in the NFC, just you can give them their ring. But I don't like I hope the Packers beat you guys because I don't want to see the Cowboys again. Eventually, when you have two teams that are really talented, eventually Dan Quinn is going to figure out something that works against Kyle. Eventually Mike McCarthy's going to scheme something up that works against our defense. And I just, if we're going to lose, if we're not going to win the Super Bowl, it better not be to no Cowboys, man. But I think they're going to smash the Packers. It just is what it is. I think the game will be close for the first, 2 quarters, maybe a fumble here or a pick here or something like that to keep it close so we have something to talk about. But by the time the game is over, I think it's probably going to be, it might be fourth quarter, pull the starters, keep them injury free.
Yeah, and here's the thing. So Packers defense talking about it, 17th in yards allowed, 24th in takeaways. They are top 10 in passing defense. They're ranked 9th, 28th in rushing defense. So not a great look there. What I'm really worried about is Mike McCarthy getting really stuck on that like 28th in rushing defense and then wanting to run the ball 400 times in the game because he can't get off of it. Listen, I don't care about Tony Pollard. I don't care that he rushed for 1,000 yards. It literally does not matter to me. I've been saying it since Dak started going off. Let him sling it, bro. Stop with the whole running thing. Okay, it's not, oh, well, the running is going to open up the passing game. No, the passing game opens up the running game. Stop with the whole like old school thinking. It doesn't work. Stop doing it. And Tony's not the hard-nosed type of runner that Zeke was. Oh, Zeke was terrible. That's all I heard last year. It's like, okay, well, his went for like 3 yards, 3.5 yards per carry. Now Tony's getting like 1, 2 when he's struggling. When Zeke's struggling, it's like 3 yards a carry. When Tony's struggling, it's like 2 yards a carry. So it's like, come on, man. Like, that's what I'm really worried about. I'm picking the Cowboys, obviously, to win this game. They win in every single category: defense, quarterback, rushing attack, pass catchers, offensive line. They win in all facets all the way across the board. As long as our offensive line comes in healthy, they're good. You pass it to CD Lamb. You let him do his thing. You pass it to Jake Ferguson. You play really solid, sound defense. I'm not worried about them in the slightest. Not even a little bit. Okay, we're ranked 5th in passing defense. I think Jordan Love is fantastic. I think he's awesome. I'm just not that worried about him. He's throwing 11 picks this year. We're we're 12th in takeaways. We're 5th in passing defense. They're not great at running the ball. 15th in rushing yards, 23rd in rushing touchdowns, and 17th in expected points contributed by rushing offense. I'm not worried about them. We win in all facets as long as we don't mess it up. All we have to do is play sound football. That's all we have to do. And that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, I think that the whole their passing defenses, they got Jair, but he doesn't travel, and even
Yeah.
with the elite corners that do travel, their downfall has always been nobody covers the slot that well. That's why slot corners are like weird, like wild card players. And CD does all his damage out of the slot. So even if Jair did decide to follow him, I just like, man, I had him on my fantasy team this year, and every week it was just like, Dak played great, 100 yards and a touchdown. Dak played terrible, 100 yards and a touchdown. The Cowboys won, 100 yards and a touchdown. The Cowboys lost, 100 yards and a touchdown. Sometimes it was like 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. So
Yeah.
it just, I don't think it really matters what they throw at him. He's probably going to eat, and you know, if you were to tell me, hey, pick a Super Bowl MVP that's not a 49er, then I would be very, very tempted to go with someone like CD Lamb.
So just to wrap it up, is I on the NFC side now, I chose Tampa to win. Did you choose Tampa or did you choose Philly?
Tampa's going to win.
And then I chose the Lions while he chose the Rams. And then we're both picking Dallas. So we have very similar picks going on from the AFC and NFC sides. Very similar. Two agrees and a disagree in there in the middle.